Women of Reddit, what was the worst thing a man has ever told you in an attempt to hit on / flirt with you? Asked a bartender I work with that question a few years back. She had a kid and was single, and a guy asked her if he could eat her out while rubbing shea butter over her stretch marks. So probably that. Holy shit. I'm dying. This needs to be in the bad pickup line hall of fame, wherever that is. A guy told me he was done going out with attractive women and now just wanted to date someone nice instead. Thanks buddy. How unfortunate. I'm done with nice guys and am looking for someone who is attractive. Apostrophe. Once when I was very visibly pregnant, a man commented on how nice my ass looked and asked for my number. I told him I was married. He said what a lucky guy my husband was. Then he pointed to my stomach and said that could have been mine. It was the creepiest thing. Not to mention I was walking with my 4 and 6 years old daughters at the time. I was very heavily pregnant and a guy followed me around the grocery store asking me if he could please take care of me and my baby. I had a guy tell me he worked for the county CIA. Pretty sure that's not a thing. Edit. The following week he tried to convince me he was besties with the local sheriff. In reality he's retired and does nothing but play golf and drink beer. My mom is close with his wife. Oops. Oh man. I love this one. It's not vulgar or appy or creepy like most of the others. Just a really bad lie in the hopes of impressing you. Wow. I've never ducked a redhead before. Guy who did not duck me. You know. I had sex with one of my students yesterday. She only just turned 17. Well nope bye. Also informed said school since I had a bone to pick with that dude as well. I mean to be fair this guy had some weird fetishes as I later found out, but I know we don't know each other well so let's play a little game. Imagine I'm a tiny man that lives in your shoe. Tell me what I'd do. Go. Do you have rape fantasies? I wanted to get help with a class and I thought he was going to help me catch up. He immediately hit me with this line. I made an excuse, stood up, and bolted. I was at a bar with one of my friends and the guy sitting next to me taps me on the shoulder and says that the bartender accidentally gave him an extra drink and he wanted to know if I wanted it. I told him no thanks. I have a drink. He told me he didn't want to waste his money since he was charged for it, so I told him to give it to one of his friends next to him. He then laughed and said why won't you take it? It's not like I'm gonna rape you or anything. I promise it's not roofied. We left quickly. He stole the crutches I needed due to a dislocated kneecap and told me well you can't run away from me now. My far distant ex-boyfriend once stole my crutches. Because he was mad I wasn't getting out as much. I had been hit by a truck and he wanted to manipulate me into going to book club with him. It was a feminist book club. My dad is a feminist. Your dad, not your mum. Oh no. Dad wouldn't allow that. I was in 9th grade and he was a junior. He passed me a note stating that he had never eaten out a white girl before. He got pretty mad when I said I wasn't interested. Teenage romance is a beautiful thing. The guy who confronted me in a parking garage while I was walking to my car and eating a strip of bacon, who started hitting on me and argued when I declined a dinner invitation and went on a really long drawn out rant while I stood there awkwardly eating a strip of bacon until he concluded with worst case scenario I buy you dinner and we never talk again, and that's cool because I'd spend $50 just to watch a hot girl eat a burger. Apostrophe. A guy I had just met 10 minutes earlier told me, you have a great face. I'd really love to come all over it. No thanks. Bye. If it weren't for your belly you'd be smoking hot. One guy told me that my roommate's body was banging and that he wished he could morph my face on it. That was the last thing he ever said before I blocked him for good, and he just couldn't understand why. Like, thanks for making me think that my face is my only redeeming quality. Asshole. Edit. Thanks to those confirming it's my only redeeming quality based off this single comment. Never change. Reddit. I had a guy tell me you were a lot more interesting before you started talking and then continue to flirt with me. I don't know if that was an attempt at negging or what. Negging is like the adult equivalent to pinching your crush's children. Blows my mind that some people's relationship skills don't improve beyond kindergarten. I had a guy at a bar notice I was Italian and then proceed to tell me how great Mussolini was before asking me how I would feel about a naked 30-year man lying on top of me for 30 seconds. I think it was supposed to be a pickup line. He said he doesn't mind providing for me in exchange for companionship. I told him I was dating someone and still tried to convince me that he'd be a better option. Dude, I'm just waiting for my bus, I don't need your money. When I was on holiday, a man was hitting on me and told me he could sense that my plane I was getting home the next day would crash and I should stay there with him. I was 14 and he was in his 30/40s. Honestly, I'd prefer taking my chances on the plane. Apostrophe. You're worthless, he actually meant priceless. Didn't realize his mistake and I didn't feel like telling him. I've had 2 different guys tell me they were going to commit suicide if I didn't have sex with them. Proper response, promise? You know, I'm going to another bar later. You are not my only option. I was never an option. He wrote a love letter/poem to me that included the phrase "let thy juices secrete." You know, I can't decide who you look more like, a blow up Japanese sex doll or a sexy version of Sid from Ice Age. Upon finding out that I can't drink because of a medical issue, a guy told me it must be hard for a guy to flirt with you considering he can't get you drunk and stupid. Thanks, dodged a bullet right there. Maybe not the worst, but certainly the weirdest. Some guy came up to me at work and started quizzing me. What's your name? Do you have a boyfriend? Do you think I'm cute? The direct approach. I assume it has worked for him in the past. But then he asked if I had any kids. I said no. This seemed to derail his train of thought completely. He said he couldn't believe it. He'd never met a girl my age who didn't have kids. And he kept following me around and repeating it. Seriously? You don't have any kids? You're not messing with me? I escaped into the warehouse and didn't come out until I was sure he'd gone. We must go to the same places. The best is when you say you have a boyfriend or point him out and they call you a whore for not cheating on him anyway. You look like a grown woman. How we give you a ride to your house? From 2 men probably in their 50s trying to get me in their car when I was 17. Freaked me out for a bit. I lived in a small town, so I was afraid I'd run into them again. The fact that they said you looked like a grown woman definitely makes it sound like they suspected you were underage. I can eat a whole pencil, except the metal part. 7th grade was wild edit. Thanks for 2k likes. This is the most attention any of my replies have ever gotten. So, because of that, I looked him up on Facebook. I can't even make this shit up. He worked at a local woodworking factory for a while and now lives in North Carolina. You looked like a less attractive version of ex-celebrity. It was online. And when I told him I didn't think that was a great compliment, he messaged back with a giant essay about how I was a slut and deserved to get rape. A literal essay. Paragraphed. It was amazingly insane. RIP, my Reddit inbox. As well as my Cupid inbox. But unfortunately not my actual lady box. We met on Tinder. Our first date. He picks me up in his car and as he's pulling out of the lot, makes a joke about raping and murdering me. When I was younger I asked a stranger out on a whim. Surprisingly she says yes, and I was going on my first real date ever, so I pick her up, and as we are chatting I get so nervous I take a wrong turn, and have to pull into an lit parking lot and turn around. I apologized for the wrong turn and she just stares me down, and tells me not to try anything her family knows where she's at. Completely shocked I stupidly asked if I really seemed like that kind of guy and she just looked me dead in the eyes and said Ted Bundy seemed nice didn't he? She was completely serious and not joking. Cue the most awkward hour-and-a-half movie experience of my life. I did not get a second date and I strongly suggest men and women avoid any mentions of murder or rape on a date. Had a guy tell me he wished he would have met me when I was younger, so he could get me pregnant and have multiple children with me because I was so hot. I was 17 at the time and he was 55. 17. Younger. What the duck? I was working the bar with a friend of mine a few years back. This older guy walked up to her and in front of everyone told her that he wants to murder her vagina. Yikes. One guy in his 40s saw me at my grandparents' house and decided to try complimenting me by complimenting my kid and how polite he was when he was informed that that kid was my brother and I was 12. He doubled down, arguing that 12 was a perfect age to have kids, and progressively got creepier until I bolted back in the house. But most recently I had a guy go on a 2-hour rant about feminism and the Smash Brothers scene. I did not ask for this topic of conversation. He 100% brought it up. I might have appreciated the effort/point he was trying to make, that he respected women, if he hadn't interrupted me every time I tried to talk, blatantly talked over me several times, and ignored pretty much anything I said, including numerous attempts to turn the topic of conversation to literally anything else. It was honestly impressive how he managed to go on this massive, completely random "I respect women" rant while blatantly disrespecting me. I would suck your dad's dick just to get a taste of the recipe. What do you say to that? You give him your dad's number. Who are you to stand in the way of love? You don't wear as much makeup as a woman should, but I like natural beauty lol okay. Worst goes to a guy I met once at a party and had run into again at another party. He said, "Last time we talked I told you to go get me a beer. And you said no. Maybe once I give you some of this dick you'll do as you're told." Funniest/most awkward goes to a coworker who figured out I loved video games, specifically BL2. He told me that I was an orange gun, basically legendary. That's not even the highest ranked weaponry. But thanks, bruh. I'm Japanese and this white guy was hitting on me and was trying to speak Japanese to me. I guess he thinks it will give him brownie points and I wouldn't notice his weeaboo aura. He then tried to correct my Japanese. I was speechless. I pretty much just got up and left without another word. Edit. Wow. I didn't expect so many replies. And they're so funny too. Made my day reading through them all. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.